Okay, so let's have a look at June. So received a bank statement on the 30th of June showing a credit transfer received of 7,200. So that's going to credit transfer, that's money going into our bank account to cover 8 months rent received in advance from June the 1st. So we've got rent received here. Okay, so you have to calculate 8 months from June the 1st. So June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So you've got 7/8 of that 7,200 is for this period, and 1/8 is prepaid for the next period. So we need to do an adjustment on that. And a direct debit of 4,800. So for direct debit, that's money coming out of your bank account of 4,800 to cover security cost for the year ended 30th of the 4th. So of that 4,800, 4 months is for this period. So remember, we have expenses due already up here of 6,000. So we're going to have to use that 6,000 to help us calculate this figure here. So we'll fill in the information we know. So we know in the bank account already 7,200 and 4,800. So you can put those in our statements, or in our tabular statement. So in our bank, money coming in is 7,200. So that's a minus. And then that's going to decrease our bank account. And then we've got 4,800 then of money going out. So that's going to increase the money that we owe, or the money coming out of our bank account. So the 7,200. So that 7,200 is going to decrease our bank, and that's going to be rent received. So it's going to be 7,200 for your rent received. And then this 4,800 then, that's going to be the money that's coming out of your bank account, and that's going to pay your expenses due. So your expenses due then is going to be minus 4,800. So that's the simple part done with the bank account. But we also got our rent received, and we also got our expenses due. Now we have to calculate what is prepaid for December and what's due for December. So we're going to have to do a little bit of an adjustment on that. So our balance is going to be 0 so far for June. We look at our rent received first. So rent received, we received 7,200. So remember, rent received is an income. So it's increase in income, we put it on the credit side. So of that rent received, 7 months is for this period because we got it on the 1st of June and it's for 8 months. So if we look at a question here, rent received on the 1st of June, so we got June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So 7 months and 1 month's prepaid. So of that 7,200, we get 7/8, which is 6,300. That's the figure that goes into your profit and loss account. And then your prepaid figure then is going to be 900. So if you look at this then in your tabular statements, so for December, for rent received, it will be 6,300, and that will also be going into your bank. Sorry, not your bank, your profit and loss. So make sure you put these in the correct lines in that. So 6,300, so our 6,300, so that means that our profit and loss is going to increase because we received 6,300, and then what's left then is if you take what's in the column away from each other, so you got 900. So that's what's prepaid then for the next period. Also, you can do in your T account here, you can see we've got 7,200 on the credit side. 6,300 is for this period. So 900 then is what's left over. And that's the prepaid amount. Your expenses then, so 6,000 coming forward from the previous period. So if we look at our expenses, we have 6,000 coming forward. So remember, expenses due. Expenses usually a debit side, but because this is due, it's going to go on the credit side. We've paid 4,800 in our bank to pay for that, so we're going to decrease it by 4,800. Now of that 4,800, 4/12 is for this period. So your profit and loss is going to decrease by 1,600. So that means your balance then is 2,800. So your expenses for the end, profit and loss, is going to be 1,600. Back to your tabular statements. So your expenses, 1,600 for this period. And then your profit and loss then, we know is going to be minus 1,600 because that's an expense. So this will all make sense then when we come to the end. And then we just add up what's in the column to see what's due. And hopefully it'll match what we've done in our tabular statements or in our T accounts, which is 2,800 is the due figure. So you can do your adjustments on the tabular statement, which definitely be a lot quicker, or you can do quick ones like this to help you check to make sure you're correct. But I would suggest that you do one of the tabular statements. So if we go through that adjustment again, okay, it's a kind of a big adjustment. So in the question, it says that received a bank statement on the 30th of June showing a credit transfer receiving 7,200. So that means that our bank is going to go down by 7,200 because of the bank overdraft. And it's to cover 8 months rent. So we've got rent received. That's going to increase by 7,200. And then we've got a direct debit. So that's going to increase our bank account by 4,800. And it's to cover security costs, which is your expenses. So your expenses then are going to go down by 4,800. So that's what we've put in here. Bank down by 7,200. And your rent received is going to go up by 7,200. Then your bank's going to increase by 4,800. And your expenses are going to increase or decrease by 4,800. Of those expenses and that, we have to find out how much is for this period and how much is for the next period. So how much of our rent received has been paid. So it tells us in the question that it's for 8 months, or rent received is for 8 months on the 1st of June. So 7/8 of this 7,200 is for this period. So that means 1/8 is prepaid from the next period. So 7/8 of 7,200, that'll give you your expense of 6,300 that needs to be paid for this period. So rent, 6,300. So that means your profit and loss is going to increase by 6,300 because we've received that amount. So that means then what's due for the next period is 900. And then for your expenses, a little bit different because we had expenses due coming in from the previous period of 6,000. So expenses due, 6,000. It's on the credit side because it's due, it has to be paid. We've paid 4,800, so that's going to go on the debit side for our expenses. So we've got our P&L then of 1,600. That's for this period. So 4/12 was for this period. So we look at the question, it'll tell us that to cover year ended the 30th of 4th, 2016. So that's for this period. So 4 months of this 4,800 has to be included in this tabular statement. So that's 1,600 goes into the P&L. So what's left then is 2,800. So 1,600 goes into your expenses. And your profit and loss is going to go down by 1,600 because it's an expense. So what's left then to pay is 2,800, and that's due for the next period. And that's June adjustment done for Delaney.